Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. Welcome to Giants Blitz on the World Wide Web, the Chilliwack Giants show about all things football. My name's Tim Amy. I'm your host. I am flanked by Mr. Matt Macri, president of Abbotsford Falcons football and a coach in his own right, and Mr. Ian Parks, the Chilliwack Giants coach's liaison and a wonderful coach in his own right. And today we're talking about how much is too much. Spring flag, off-season training, is it becoming too much? And of course, at the end of the show, we have our trivia question with either one of our panelists get to answer and win a lovely prize. So I turn to you, Mr. Macri. Have you ever worried throughout your career about how much is too much and kids burning out and just getting turned off by getting pushed a little too much for a game that's just so supposed to be fun?
No. Simple answer is no. I haven't. The way I kind of look at it is you get out of the sport what you put into the sport. So if you're happy with just playing a regular season, the 4 or 5 months that we train in the spring, in the summer, and then play in the fall season, and you're happy with that, great. There's plenty of kids that do that, but you get kids that want more out of it, and they want to do more with the sport. And if you're going to do that, you can't sit on your laurels for 6-7 months out of the year and expect to be at the top of your game come season time. And the opportunities that are out there right now to continue to play, to continue to grow, to continue to train are a lot more than there were in the past. But at the same time, you have to have a necessary life-work balance, for lack of a better term. I know my son wants to play at the next level. He wants to play at the next level. He plays his season, finishes early December, takes Christmas off. January he starts 1 day a week, right? February he gets into a little bit of weekend stuff, maybe to get into the men's touch league and with his brother and get running around. By the end of February he's training 3 days a week and he's playing a touch or a flag game on the weekends, right? And he gears himself back up. So you have to make sure you have that balance, as well as what do you want out of it, right? And you have to put in to get out.
Ian, I want to ask you. I mean, I certainly concur with what Matt's saying, but with the off-season training, the extra flag, does it make sense to be playing football all those months, or should the football season end and your kid go into tennis or basketball or volleyball or soccer or something to develop outside the game that builds up different muscle groups and different instincts and so forth and so on?
Well, for all the athletes out there, I actually do encourage other sports as well. So I encourage baseball, I encourage lacrosse, I encourage hockey. When you start talking about community sports like basketball as well as floor hockey, these kids really get a lot out of all those. My kids are at a certain age where they can play all those different sports and get lots out of them, and they're actually going to find out what their passion is, what they truly do love. When you start talking about winter training, I think it's awesome. We have a saying, hard work pays off. So hard work pays off, and that's going to pay off in whatever sport you want, and everything is in bite-sized chunks. If you want to do it 1 day a week, if you want to do flag, and it's funny you talk about the next level, because to me, being an adult and a father and a coach, to me, the next level is helping coach, and I'm still playing. I still play 50 touch and flag, football games a year. So I love the sport, and I love the winter training. Just the coaches get lots out of the winter training as well.
But it starts off small, and I look at other sports. I think back to an article I read about Cal Ripken, of course, played professional Major League Baseball, was the Iron Man. And there's a real problem in baseball where kids are just playing baseball and everything's baseball 365. And somebody asked them, when did you first start playing all the year, off-season training, the whole deal? And he's like, when I was 18, I signed my first pro contract. So, I mean, it's great that we have the facilities available for the spring flag, the off-season training, all that sort of thing. But if you look at the top athletes of the past, football players, basketball players, a lot of these guys were three-sport athletes. They didn't train off-season. They made it pro because they wanted to get there. They made it to that next level, not because all this stuff was available to them, because inside, in their mind, in their heart, and their soul, they wanted to get there. So would it not be better if let's say Chilliwack Giants football teamed up with the Monday night basketball, or they started their own volleyball league and just got kids active doing something else, rather than saying, okay, here's the drills we have to do for football. I mean, are ladder drills in January really necessary instead of just running around in the gym playing dodgeball? Or you can go, Matt. Sorry.
Most athletic kids are going to go play any sport that comes up. You throw a basketball, they're going to shoot a hoop. You give them a bat, they're going to hit a ball, right? You give them a soccer ball, they're going to watch TV. But I mean,
it's the world's game, man.
but you know, and you got to look at the age group you're talking about too. Like, and I'm going to reference my son again here. Is he's almost 17. He's going into grade 12 next year. It's his senior season. It's his last season. When he was younger, we did the baseball. He did try basketball. He played floor hockey. And he said, you know what, Dad, I love football, right? So I do encourage at a young age to be looking outside of a singular sport. And you don't want to be, you know, you talk to these hockey parents at 6 years old. They're up. The kids are up at 4 a.m. They're playing hockey 7 days a week. They're training, you know, in the off season. I don't agree with that, but I do agree with at a young age, opening the door and showing them what's out there. And when they decide that they want to come back to a singular, right? And now, when I played baseball and football, right? I'd play football in the fall, baseball in the spring. It worked out pretty good. I'd have a month off in between each. It worked out pretty good, and I enjoyed it, and I liked both sports. My son did that for 2 years, and said, I'm just going to stick with football. So we looked at what football can you do in the spring. And you do want to limit the contact. I mean, you've had the conversation about concussions before, right? Injuries, and time to heal and repair your body. So you want to limit the contact end of it. But you go to flag football, you go to touch football, right? The training part of it is just staying healthy. I mean, if he wasn't doing ladders, he'd be in the gym lifting weights,
right,
or walking on a treadmill, or you want to stay active, you want to stay healthy, 365 days of the year, right? What do you if you can do that with gearing towards getting better at something you love? I don't see the difference. I really don't.
Now, you mentioned hockey, and for the record, let's be clear, there's lots of kids that play hockey, and they play a nice short season, and that's what they do, and then they go into something else. And there's other kids, either maybe through their parents or themselves, that want to do the 365 thing. So it's not, we can't really pick on hockey. I know swimming is 10 months out of the year.
Yeah.
Friends of mine live in Surrey, their daughters are in fast pitch, that's 10 months out of the year. So it's not, we don't want to pick on one sport. You made the joke about soccer, which was very funny, but
yeah, and I wasn't picking on hockey, but
no.
But you can in hockey, and you get the parents that do put their kids with singular
Oh,
focus. And you step away from sports. My daughter does dance.
Yeah.
10 months out of the year, she does 7 hours a week, 10 months out of the year of dance. By the end of that, by the time where they're doing their competitions at the end of the year, she's really tired of dance and really wants that break. So I mean, you could look at it with just about anything. If you do it too much, it's probably not healthy for you. Video games.
Yeah,
you know,
sure.
my older boy can sit on his laptop for days on end with no eating, no showering. You know.
And to be clear, with all of this winter training, spring training, whatever it looks like, we are endorsing a healthy lifestyle. That's extremely important. So, shout out to a couple coaches with Chilliwack. Colin Boyd's got 30 Adam-aged kids in spring training. 1 night a week, doing ladders, doing medicine balls, doing cone drills, doing some hand-eye coordination. Derek Wagner's got 75 PWJB athletes 1 night a week. But they're actually encouraging at that level, because it starts to get a little bit bigger. They're starting to encourage homework and evaluations, and how much they can improve over the course of a 9-week program. And again, so we take that homework, we look at what they've done throughout the week, and we say, hey, you know what? How about you got to do a little bit better? You got to make sure you have breakfast. You got to make sure you get lots of sleep. Those types of healthy lifestyle stuff. Yeah. Coach Scott Wilkins at Bantam, Coach Todd Hunter at Midget. Now they've got their own programs that starts to push weights and hit the gym. So we're not pushing this on our 5-year-olds. We're talking 8, 9 years old. Let's start thinking about that. Mm-hmm. And I personally think we can have more of that, even in the schools.
Yeah.
So, but having said all that, I would encourage all of them to play. My boys are playing volleyball, basketball, baseball. They're playing baseball while they play spring flag. They come out and watch me play touch and flag. But they love football. So that's why. And my daughter's in fast pitch winter training.
Yeah.
So, and it's something that they want to do. So I think that's important.
Yeah. And in terms of spring flag, I signed my son up, full disclosure, for spring flag. He's there Monday nights, and he's got his homework he has to do. And I did it not to give him a competitive edge or that I'm thinking for the next level, but he is going to junior bantam from Pee Wee. He's going to be 12 playing against 13-year-olds. And I just didn't want him to be blown away by the 13-year-olds who are shaving and, you know, bulking up, right? I mean, he's built a guy, he's a skinny kid, he's tall and he's quick enough, but, you know, so that's why I put him in it. And the second he got there, I realized he wanted to do it because all his friends are there. And all I saw him do was reconnect with all his football buddies, chatting away. It's the social side of things that are just excellent. And it's interesting you mentioned different sports, because Dan Patrick just interviewed Wayne Gretzky.
Yeah. And
what did Wayne Gretzky want to be when he grew up? Shortstop for the Detroit Tigers. And it was his dad that said, no, you're playing hockey.
Yeah.
So it's interesting because there are genuine kids out there that just want to keep doing it. And then there's the parents that, or on the flip side, that say, no, this is what you were doing. I wonder, though, if parents, I want to play football all the time, if mom and dad shouldn't say, you know what, I appreciate that, but you know what, you're going to love football that much more if you can't do it for 4 months. And you know what, let's go find something else to do. My son has a paper route twice a week. That's his off-season training. He's out in the rain and the snow and the sun and everything, delivering his newspapers, pulling that wagon through all the mess that we've had and the ice and everything. And I see that building more character than physical fitness. And he's outside in the sun and all that and fresh air. But he's learning responsibility, he's learning tenacity, he's learning adversity, he's learning, you know, and for, gosh, maybe $5 an hour at least, you know, he gets paid, it's not very much. But, you know, so yeah, so there's different things you can do besides training to keep your kids active and keep them healthy and help them grow as individuals.
And when you start talking about passion for the sport, my son is going to be reffing spring flag. And football's such a unique sport in that, you know, you have to develop that football IQ. Yes, you're an athlete, and we want to build athletes and promote healthy lifestyles. But that football IQ of either reffing or playing spring flag and staying active and developing your game, I think is extremely important. And we give those kids every opportunity to do that. And I think the more programs we offer, I think the better it is for the kids. So to me, keeping as many winter training kids as possible, as many spring flag. Our spring flag has grown from 2015, we were at 128 kids. 2016, we're at 170. We're at 210 kids this year for spring flag.
We're crested 210.
Yeah, we're at 210 right now. So
nice.
that's phenomenal. I mean, and we're giving the opportunity for them to play. Because, and we're not battling other sports. My boys are playing baseball and spring flag football. So,
well, I think that you hit the nail on the head there. Is that you're giving them the opportunity. I mean, as parents, as coaches, as adults, we have to open the door and say, here it all is, and then we have to let them come to us. So when you say, well, take it away for 4 months, and they'll like it that much more when they get back to it. I mean, is that really fair? Right? We're going to put you in baseball, which you hate, for 4 months, and you're going to suffer through
You don't
this.
put them in a sport they hate, but they find something they don't mind doing.
Yeah.
You make them hungry. You know, you can't.
I think
too much of a good thing, too little of a good thing. If you can't do it and you really want it, it builds that demand, and they're really ready to get back into football. After, you know, knitting. Winter.
I find you know, a lot of the boys, and I mean, I go back to my son, but he's got a lot of friends that are in the same boat. That walk around with a football in their hand, longing to get back out there and throw the ball. Right. And you try and give them a bat, or you try and give them a soccer ball or a basketball, and they're like, no thanks, you just give me the football, right? And at that point, you don't want to force them to do something they don't want to do either, because then they're not going to try, they're not going to, you know. So you want them to do what they like. I mean, as parents, we all want our children to enjoy the growing up experience. And in doing so, you want to give them opportunities. And I agree with you. I mean, not just sports. You can say, okay, football season's over, now you're going to go play baseball. Well, what if the kid wants to sing? What if he wants to act? What if he wants to dance? Right? What if he wants to write? Or what if he wants to, you know, do video games? Right? You know, you want to open the door and say, all these opportunities available to you, you tell me what you want to do. And then as parents, coaches, the adults in the situation, we have to make it available to them.
So let's wrap up. So Ian, in conclusion, how much is too much? How much is not enough?
it completely depends on every athlete and every family, because different athletes, the top third athletes out there that have developed a little bit earlier, who want to push themselves, who are extremely competitive, they want to do it as much as possible. There's another third that will go out there for the social activity. There's another third that want to try something else. We want to be able to provide a different level for everybody. So it depends on the family and how much they're able to put into driving the young athletes to practice, driving the young athletes to different clinics. So I'm going to say it completely depends on the individual player.
And the driving, that's an interesting point, because the nice thing about living in Chilliwack, I've always lived in big cities, Toronto, Montreal, and Vancouver's. The beautiful thing about Chilliwack, everything's nice and close. It's 5 minutes to get anywhere in this town. All right, we're going to wrap up. We have our trivia question, and the prize is this wonderful book that I read years ago by Dave Megacy, Out of Their League. He was a U.S. college standout and played several years pro. And he wrote a memoir about all these shenanigans that go on behind the scenes of the U.S. NCAA programs. And of course, once you're playing in the NFL. It was written in the 70s, but even he says he hands his book off to, he's on the Players Union now, hands his book off to current players and say, yeah, this is still relevant today. So
Great.
Any opportunity to promote literacy, I will take it. I love to read. So I have the names of our 2 contestants in our magic hat here. I'm going to reach in and pull it out of our vault. And you have to answer a trivia question. Ian!
Oh, fantastic.
Okay, you ready for the trivia question?
No.
Super Bowl 1991. I can't remember how many X's and L's and I's were in it, but it was the Buffalo Bills against the New York Giants.
Yes.
Scott Norwood, with seconds to go on the clock, needs to nail a 43-yard field goal to win the game.
Yes.
The Bills lost by a point. The New York Giants was New York Giants head coach. What was his nickname?
Sorry, I don't know.
You don't know? Matt Macri?
No.
Can you remember?
No, I can't. It was, wasn't it Parcells that was?
That's
Tuna.
Tuna. Yeah.
The Big Tuna.
Parcells, Big Tuna. You
Yeah.
both got it, so you have to share the book. There you go.
Perfect.
You got the first part
There
right.
you go.
So you're going to read it first, and you can share it. And the only thing I ask is once you both finish, and it's a great book, by the way.
Yes.
When you both finish reading it, share it to someone or donate it to your library or whatever, just so it can keep moving on, so it doesn't sit on your bookshelf. So, thank you very much. That wraps up this week's Giants Blitz. Tim Amy, Mr. Matt Macri, thank you for tuning in.